With the NBA draft coming up and the second apron kicking the Cavs' butt, the Cavaliers have a golden opportunity to scout some prospects that fill in some very important needs, specifically in the physicality and the lack of good mentality. That is what they're going to explore in this year's NBA draft. But while missing a first-round pick, they cannot get a true, already developed star. But there is some potential in this year's NBA draft with 2 second-round picks where the Cavs can find some golden prospects. And a lot of these prospects being unknown. And that's what I'm here to give you guys. These unknown prospects that could really fit in some big needs for the Cavs. I picked out 3 that ESPN and other analysts also picked out that I do agree with and that I think could be big fits for the Cavaliers. Before we get started, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. As you can find out about unknown prospects, you can get things such as trades, rumors, updates, everything like that. Literally everything here at Cavs Digest. We cover all things Cavs. So now it is time to talk about the big things coming in this year's NBA draft. There are 3 prospects I chose for you guys. It is a little bit, questionable because the Cavs are missing a first-round pick, but they have 2 second-round picks that I think could be pivotal for them in this year. We're going to start off with the first one. This guy is 18 years old from Croatia. ESPN says that this guy will be taken with the Cavaliers' first second-round pick. His name is Michael Rusek. I can't say his name with a Croatian accent or anything, I'm probably going to pronounce all 3 of these names wrong, honestly. But you could just tell by the pure film. This guy is a stretch big. Kind of. He's a small forward, power forward. He's only 18 years old. He's very, very raw. He's underdeveloped completely, but he is one of the most skilled players in this draft overall. The problem is that he has a low amount of playing time and a low amount of point score, a low amount of true showcase yet. He hasn't really been able to prove himself at any sort of level, but you can see here are his defensive highlights. He hustles his butt off on defense, and he plays phenomenal defense. He's super talented on both sides. And his name is Michael Rusek, as I said, Michael Rusek, something like that. I don't know his exact accent to say his name, but he is a phenomenal player on just both sides. Pure talent, and that's what you're going to get. You're just going to get pure talent. That's the first prospect that I need to bring up. Again, he is a huge risk, high reward player. Now I haven't really talked much about the Cavs' lack of development. These 2 guys specifically. So that's Luke Travers and that's Amani Bates. These 2 guys could have been, they haven't really saw enough playing time, but these guys are also on 2-way deals, which means that they could play in the on the G League team or they could play on the NBA team. They're both basically signed to both. And that is what you can expect from these guys in the second round as well, that they draft in the second round. My problem is the Cavs haven't really taken that risk to develop any young guys because they're so keen on their core 4 and their star bench pieces. But I think with the lack of physicality that they showed in the playoffs, you should be willing to take a risk on some of these rookies and some of these younger guys, especially these 2 guys who showed up in the G League and even in late games in the season. Amani Bates had a crazy game when everyone wasn't playing because of, the end of the season time management stuff. But the next player is going to be Mackenzie it's Mgbako. I don't know how to say it. Mgbako, I'm assuming this is him in the combine. He is sparking, but the biggest question surrounding him was his jump shooting. But in the combine, he looked phenomenal from 3. This guy was playing pure beauty, beautiful defense. But what the main thing about this guy, so he was at Indiana. He was at Indiana. He's a huge defender, super athletic. And when he is on from the perimeter, he can shoot. Kind of like an Evan Mobley type of shooter. He's streaky. He can sometimes stretch the floor and hit those big-time shots. That's why I really like him as a prospect, because he can do that. The thing about him is he's just super, he kind of is one of those takeover guys that isn't going to excel at taking over. He's just a really, really good defender, and he's super athletic. And that's what you're going to get out of him. He played well in Indiana this year, and he is one of those prospects. Here he is. He's one of those prospects that could go super, super far, and that's why you could be willing to take a risk on this guy, either late in the second round or you could take him with their first second-round pick. I doubt either of these guys are really going to get drafted by the Cavs, but these are 2 prospects I think fit in. The one thing that I mentioned, if you heard me, I said he's a huge defender and he's super athletic, and that's 2 big things that they could fill in at that power as a backup big man spot, although he is not a big man size, but he's proven he can play the 4 very, very well. He's someone I love. I think that he's probably the best fit for the Cavs late in the second round of the draft, and I'm just hoping they don't just get rid of him. They don't toss him aside like he's nothing, because this guy really, really has a lot of potential. And then we come down to our last guy, Izan Almansa, I think. Played in the G League Ignite, then went to the Perth Wildcats. This guy actually played in the Rising Stars Challenge. Look at that block by that man. That man's a dog. There's Mac McClellan taking it up. This was the 2024 Rising Star Challenge. Look at him. Oh, my goodness. That's in the G League Ignite. He was on the G League Ignite. That Lift Strengths team in the Rising Stars Challenge. You saw a big block leading to a big dunk. Just athletic, hustles, and he is a beast on the boards. And that is one big thing I love. He is a proven rebounder, a significantly humongous need that the Cavs could use in the playoffs. Someone that's willing to box out, hustle, and put their body on the line to grab a board and play help defense. I love Izan Almansa, if I'm saying his name right. This guy's a stud. So those are the three prospects we've covered. Michael Rusek, of course, I don't have the accent to say his name. Izan Almansa, and Mackenzie Mgbako. These guys are studs. These are the best prospects. So let's kind of talk about what they need and who are the biggest and what they need and why these guys fit the best. So Rusek, of course, he's just a pure stretch. I think he can add to the power forward position that will allow you to stretch the floor. If you have Mobley at the center and then you have this Rusek guy at the 4, it really will allow you to stretch the floor more. And we saw that's what the Pacers did. They ran a 5-out, stretched the floor against the Cavs. Cavs couldn't stop it. It would be beautiful to see Donovan Mitchell iso-wing in a 5-out scenario. That would be incredible to watch, wouldn't it? And that's why I like this Rusek kid. And it's crazy because you look at his stats, you're like, oh, why would we draft a guy that averages like 2 points a game? I showed you this guy's film, man. I showed you this kid's film. This kid is incredible at basketball, and he has a beautiful intellect surrounding like the offense and the defense. Like he's so smart, and he's willing to play wherever on the court. That's why I personally love this kid. I think he's a phenomenal player, and I think he could really, really go far. It's just the fact that he's still so raw because, I mean, he is 18 years old, hasn't played at a top level yet. He's from Croatia, now playing in Spain. So there is a lot of potential for him still. It's just the fact that he would be the biggest risk, but I could see them using their first, second-round pick in this year's NBA draft to take him. Of course, it's really hard for them to trade picks with the second apron. The second apron's kicking our butt, but you could still fill in needs. You just have to be willing to develop guys like Luke Travers, Amani Bates, Jalen Tyson, and whoever you draft. Here's Mackenzie and Mgbako. As I said, this guy fills in that big defensive big man role, willing to use his whole body no matter what. He's so athletic, and he can also stretch the floor, as I showed you. This guy was sparking in the combine. Bang! He was hitting every shot in the combine. Like, he was looking good at this camp. He looked phenomenal. And so this guy fills in that big, stretch big need that they do not have. He's a similar shooter to Mobley, except he's more volume. Like, Mackenzie will get you more volume. And I watched Indiana. I watched a lot of college basketball. I've worked Indiana games. And I've seen this kid. He is very, very talented. And I do see a lot of potential in him. Personally, he's my favorite fit for the Cavs in this year's draft. And then lastly, as I said, we have Mr. Izan Almansa, who is just a dominant rebounder. His athleticism, as you kind of see in this dunk, like he doesn't get up like that. That's the one thing that, like, he is athletic, like he's super quick, which I think will help defense. I just wish he could jump a little higher and he was a little stronger. He has like that Evan Mobley skinny build that scares me a little bit, but he can stretch the floor. Not at all. That's the biggest problem. He can't stretch the floor at all. He's just going to be athletic, and he's a beast on the boards. He's probably my least favorite out of all three of these. I probably like him the least, but these are three big needs that you could desperately have, and especially with the second apron, they could finally find a need for a physical guy if they take advantage in the draft. We just have guys like this and Jalen Tyson who are rotting on the bench in the G League that these two guys need to be less scared of developing. We just need to see these young guys develop. You already have a young core four. Mobley's 23, Darius Garland, Donovan Mitchell, and Jarrett Allen. None of those guys are old. Donovan Mitchell might be getting there, but none of those guys are old. These are all guys that are so young. Why not throw in some young talent and let them get a chance to prove if they're physical enough and fill in a big need for the Cavs? That's my biggest issue, and that's why I think the Cavaliers should go look at these three prospects that I just mentioned. Hopefully Dan Gilbert and Koby Altman sees this video, but if not, I hope you guys just learned about some big prospects in the Cavs' golden opportunity they have in this year's NBA draft. Thank you guys for joining me on Cavs Digest. As always, hit that subscribe button, drop a comment, let me know if there's any prospects that you guys think are better fits, and let me know how you guys feel about these three prospects I mentioned, or if the draft matters to you guys at all, or Dan Gilbert and Koby Altman's lack of developing young players. And as always, thank you guys for joining me on Cavs Digest. I'm Matt Palange.